Hey, welcome back to the Daily Dose. My name is Luke, and this week we are looking at 5 characteristics of God that make a huge difference in all of our lives. We're going to call them the 5G's. Each of these starts with G, and like I said, has a profound impact on our life. The first one is this: God is great, so we don't need to be in control. God is great, so we don't need to be in control. Where do we see the greatness of God? Well, one of the best passages for it is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. It's Isaiah chapter 40. Here's what it says there. It says, "Behold, the Lord God comes with might, and his arm rules for him. Behold, his reward is with him. His recompense is before him. He will tend his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms. He will carry them in his bosom and gently lead those that are young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and marked off the heavens with a span, enclosed the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance?" This is using language of God that is describing his greatness, right? It's saying that God can hold all of the waters of the earth in the hollow of his hand. It says that he can mark out the heavens with a span. It says, "To whom will you liken God, or what likeness will you compare with him?" He says this: "Do you not know? Do you not hear? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is God who sits above the circle of the earth. Its inhabitants are like grasshoppers. God stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness." God is great. There is nobody like him. And here's the good news of that. That means we don't need to be in control. I think about the futility of trying to be in control. When my little guy Hank was just little, he was taking a bath. And I remember one day he was trying to grab the water that was pouring out of the spout. And he kept trying to grab it, and then he'd look at his hands and say, "I can't hold it." And he'd try to grab it, and he'd look at his hands and he'd say, "I can't hold it." And you could just tell he was bewildered that he couldn't grab this water. And he was just trying to grab a little bit of water coming out of the bathtub. This passage is saying God holds all the waters in the hollow of his hand. It's a way of communicating his greatness. And so much of the time when we try to be in control, it's like Hank trying to grab that water. We're not in control. Our life is a vapor. We're here today, we're gone tomorrow, but God is great. And because God is great, we don't have to be in control. So what are you holding on to? What are you trying to grasp that is actually in God's hands? Why don't you let it be in God's hands? Why don't you trust yourself to him and take a deep breath and relax, and don't take yourself so seriously, because God is great and you don't need to be in control. There's your daily dose.